I hope you're well. Today we're going to be talking about foundation of our body. A lot of people are reading the screen right now, so I just want to say hello. I'm Dr. Nicole. I have been practicing for a while now as a massage therapist since 2004, so 20 years, and chiropractic since 2015. So do the math, what is that? 9 years, functional medicine since 2019. So anyways, let's move ahead. So foundation of our bodies is oftentimes overlooked. Our bodies go into weight loss, weight gain. Oftentimes in America, it's weight gain. And I just want to give you guys some hope and some options on what you can do to naturally get your body, for the 10% of people who want to gain weight, muscles, fat, whatever that is, and then the 90% of us who are always wanting to lose a few inches or lose some pounds. I just want to give some help to all of us today on why dieting might work or might not work. So if we look at our foundation, there's a few things, but we're going to keep it pretty simple today. So let's jump ahead. 4 pillars of health. Why are you dieting when your foundation is broken? Again, this is my information. If you're finding that these videos are awesome, please share them. I mean, obviously in this digital age, it becomes imperative that we share content that we like, that we get stuff from, that makes us laugh. Obviously, if you could see me right now, you might laugh at me, right? So when we look at the 4 pillars, this is going to help us set or reset our foundation. Most of us are going to be watching this maybe 30 to 60 years old, some a little bit older, some a little bit younger. So a lot of us will be resetting our foundation when we talk about these 4 pillars. But some of you jumping in might be just setting your foundation, right? You're younger, you're 20 and 25, maybe a little bit younger than that. Either way, this is going to help get us back to health. Oftentimes I see in my practice that people come to me and they come because they want to lose weight. So I have to educate. Weight is a side effect. A side effect to lacking something is common, or having too much of something, which you can have both at the same time. So maybe you're lacking magnesium because you have fillings in your teeth. Well, how is that interacting? Well, our body's processes, when we eat a standard American diet, will become deficient in certain things. So if we eat the same way as we have for 10, 20 years, our deficiencies will become more apparent and we will gain weight as a side effect. Sounds strange. There's a lot of science behind it. Just maybe trust me on this as we go through a few of these. If you do end up having questions, please email me, info@ptbodytherapy.com. Go to our website, ptbodytherapy.com. Contact me if you do have other questions or want to become a patient. So now that we know that weight is a side effect and you're kind of running it through your head, let's shift our focus to what is a side effect to, right? So if our weight is a side effect, why are we over or underweight? What does that mean to us? Maybe grab a pen and paper and just kind of write down, what are my questions I'm having here? This is kind of maybe new to you, maybe something that you've heard in the past, but you didn't understand. But weight as a side effect is new to a lot of people. So let's dive into getting this whole concept to balance into our life, right? So what I mean by that is when we are focused on our weight, we're going to gain weight or lose weight, the exact opposite that we want, right? So we need to balance and focus on our foundation. And we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll get right into it and spend the majority of time there. But all these things on this picture, right? Vacations and friends and work and your job and family and just a lot of stuff that you want to do or that you have to do is going to play a role into are you going to be able to stay on a diet, do a diet. These are the common reasons why people fail and they give up and they stay overweight or they become hopeless. The list goes on and on. So let's get into setting a good foundation, resetting a good foundation, shifting our focus that weight is a side effect, and it's a side effect into our bodies not having balance, and not just work-life balance, but nutrient balance and hydration balance and exercise balance, right? And so we'll start and we'll dive into first things first, hydration, right? So, oh, this one I forgot. Measuring health, this is just one way, right? You look at the scale and you go, oh, I wish, and it's like, well, wait a second. But that's just telling you one picture. So you go to work out for the first time and you're working out for a year and you've gained weight. Well, if you're 45 and you haven't worked out for 10 years or ever, and you go in and you work out, your body is doing a lot of things. The main thing it's doing is gaining weight, right? It's gaining muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. We go into the balance of that, but your fat stays there to feed the muscle. So until you have a net loss, meaning your calorie in, calorie out, deficits, all the measures of those things, until that happens, your body can maintain and gain for a long time. Let me give you an example. I am turning 40 this year, and I'm semi-active. I played a little bit of sports here and there in high school, and then after high school, I really didn't do much. I mean, I played on a volleyball league in the summer, in the fall, in the spring, but it was just a social thing, right? So you're staying active. I worked out here and there and did my diet fabs, but I didn't truly work out on a consistent moment, right? So I didn't attend anything consistently. I wasn't doing much consistently over time, right? So I got back into working out about almost 3 years ago now, and I started at the gym, and I just made one goal. I needed to go to the gym 3 times a week or more, and there was no excuses, and that was it. I wasn't saying I had to lose weight or gain weight because it was just too much. You set one goal and you go. So for almost 3 years, I went to the gym, and in the first year, I lost about 5 to 6 pounds. Not a huge loss, but my body fat went from about 32, 33% down below 30% in that first year. Now, my second year into it, my weight went down another 5 or so pounds, but my body fat continued to drop. So I didn't lose a ton of weight. I didn't fit into the measurements I thought that I wanted to be in because my muscles were gaining, therefore the inches were staying, but the fat was being utilized by the muscles, and it was allowing the body fat percentage to go down and for me to feel better. Now in this third year, I'm finally getting measurement differences in my legs, in my hips, in my waist, in my chest, not so much in my arms because at our gym we lift a little bit heavier, but what I'm explaining to you is when I looked at the scale, I was like, oh, okay, I'm only dropping like 5 pounds and my friends were dropping like 20. You know, my inches weren't going anywhere, but I knew I was feeling better and I knew I was on the right track. So because I know my body, I didn't give up. I changed a little bit about my hydration, which we're going to talk about. I also changed my sleeping habits, right? And then I worked on increasing my protein and also a few other nutrients as well. So those are the foundational things. Once you get those in line, then I really started losing weight. So when we talk about hydration, right? Water is one of the best sources that we can. Now there's debates about what type of water, right? So I will let you guys have that debate amongst yourself. However, hydration is going to be one of our foundational pillars. Hydration, here I'm going to read you the definition, is defined as the process of making your body or something absorb water or other liquid. For our talk today, we will focus on the water intake only. When our bodies are hydrated, this means each cell is satisfied with the amount of fluid, i.e. water, it has in and around the cell. Hydration is important because if we are dehydrated, which is not having enough water, we get symptoms. These symptoms can be minimal, like dry mouth after a workout or when you wake up, but they can also be severe, like hallucinations and increasing our forgetfulness. So I just want to touch on two things. There's fluid inside our cell and outside our cell, intracellular and extracellular. When we have issues getting water from outside to inside our cell, we get things called edema, right? So a lot of us struggle with that. You press on the ankle, it has a divot, it stays for 3 to 5 seconds or longer. You sit a long time, you're not moving. That is because you're holding the water outside the cell. That's going to be a long-term, typically a long-term issue with electrolytes, protein imbalances, etc., right? Deficiencies. That's a different talk. How can you tell if you're getting enough water? This is a question I get often. This leads into how we know when we have enough water. When we're fully hydrated, our mouth is moist. We're able to sweat when it's hot. Our urine is light in color or colorless. The more dehydrated we become, the drier our mouths and the darker our urine becomes. If you're dealing with very dark yellowish orange or yellowish brown urine, you may want to consult your professional MD, DC, and talk to them on a separate appointment. Make an appointment if you have really dark urine, or drink some water and see if that color changes. If you're hydrated consistently and that color does not change, you definitely need to seek a professional. What do you think the benefits are of staying hydrated? Hydration is one of the most important things in my opinion, right? Obviously we need air. We can only live up to 4 minutes without it. Water, we can live 3 days without water. And then food is tertiary, right? So food, you can live 40, 100. I mean, there's societies that claim that sunlight, I haven't looked into this, but that sunlight alone can be their food source as long as they have water. So if you look at water, it's one thing that we can control. Air just happens. Don't put a bag around your head. Don't suffocate somebody. But water is our choice. Water is something that we can drink, that we cannot drink, that we can choose to replace with something else. But what are the benefits of drinking water? Basically, it's going to decrease fatigue, increase your energy, less muscle fatigue, better memory, less headaches, less illnesses, and basically better immune function. If you look at what the water does, it has so many facets, right? So water helps to make up our blood, right? Our body is made up of 70-75% water. When we look at the blood and the viscosity, which means just kind of how it flows, people who are dehydrated tend to have oil-like substance or really sluggish blood, right? Typically, people who are hydrated have the perfect viscosity. They have the perfect flow of blood. Blood is important because it gets nutrients to our cells and waste from our cells, right? So if we have an infection, it brings the white blood cells there. If we need to clot, it brings our platelets, right? So we have all these specialties that happen, but if the blood is not the appropriate thinness, it can't get into our capillaries. It can't get to the very tiniest of the tiniest in our fingers, toes, and brain that it truly needs. So what is the proper intake of water for most people? Well, there's a simple equation. It's your weight divided by 2 equates to the ounces you should consume daily. This is rough, right? So if you're 200 pounds, you divide that by 2, you should have about 100 ounces of water a day. This can seem like a lot, but think about everything that we do in a day, and you're not drinking water at night. So try to wrap your head around this. If you're lacking in this area, just increase slowly. So let's just say you drink 16 to 32 ounces a day and you're supposed to have 150, or you're supposed to have 100. Just slowly increase that by a cup a day over the course of a month or so and see the differences. Try not to drink close to bedtime because you'll be up all night peeing. Try to drink it in the morning. Try to have some cold water, but also some room temperature water. The effects can be different, obviously, on our stomach and the process that our body needs to warm things up. They have different health benefits. If you really feel like listening to this and looking other things up, there's some really good YouTube gurus that can explain what cold and what hot and how this works, and do it if you have stomach issues, and do this if you have, whatever. So do some more investigating on your own about water. So the amount of water that you drink also can be varied if you tend to eat lots of fruits and veggies that are raw or barely cooked, right? So vegetables and fruit carry a lot of hydration. That would decrease the need of water. If you're exercising, that would increase it, right? So you got to see how your day is going as well. All right, I think I talked your ear off on water. Oh, sleep. I love to sleep. Anybody like to sleep out there? All right, sleeping, sleep routines, nighttime bed habits, right? When we look at our health, oftentimes sleep is skipped, right? We can sleep when we're dead. But what's the benefits? Why is it important? Is all sleep equal? Getting into a habit that works for you is important to rebuild what your body breaks down each and every day, right? All day long, we break things down. All night long, we build things and restore things. What is the best amount of sleep that we should get every night? So this depends on your age. When we're younger, we get more. When we're older, we get less. Most of us need to stick between 7 and 9 hours. But you need to get about 90 or more minutes of deep sleep a night. So we have what's called non-REM sleep and REM sleep. REM is rapid eye movement, right? So our REM cycle varies from person to person, but it's about 90 minutes, give or take. Getting 4 to 5 of our REM cycles and non-REM sleep cycles at night is what we're shooting for. This means we should be getting about 7 to 9 hours. Because our cycles are a little different, each of us have our sweet spot. My sweet spot is 7.5 hours. If I get 7, I'm fine. If I get 8, I'm fine. If I get less or more, it's horrible. I hate it. What time is the best time to go to sleep? I just read a new thing as I was doing the research for this presentation. I just read that the best time to go to bed is around 10 o'clock, 10:30 at the latest. Every hour of sleep you get before midnight, they say counts as 2 hours of sleep. So if you are a night owl, you need to consider this. I won't lecture. That's for somebody else. What does sleep have to do with it? We can sleep when we're dead, right? Oh, I love sleep too much though. Okay, sleeping habits. How long do we need to be in a habit? 21 days to make a habit, 3 to break a habit. Let's talk about our metabolic state. Okay, I chopped these words up, so you're just going to have to deal with it. You'll know what I'm talking about, and hey, we're all human. However, okay, our metabolism is equal to the breakdown and the buildup, which is catabolism and anabolism. During the day when you wake, right, you have different hormones that shoot up, right? Our cortisol levels, they wake us up. They say it's time to get up and eat. Begin breaking down everything and utilizing our body, utilizing for our body when we're awake to energize and feed each cell until we can eat, right? Break fast, then you eat your food. When we go to sleep, it's the opposite, right? Lights go dim, melatonin, growth hormone, all these other building type hormones come out and it shuts down our body and our brain and we go to sleep. Now it's time to build everything up that we use for the day to store, right? Okay, so do you ever wonder why you get a fever more at night, right? So your fever spikes in your kid at night and you're like, oh my gosh, but you're fine today. You're running around. Or yours. Well, that's because of that, right? So our hormones during the day, you're breaking things down. So when you sleep during the day, yeah, you get the rest and then you don't break down as much. But as soon as bedtime comes, those hormones, they ramp up, right? Melatonin and growth hormone, and they go in and they rebuild everything. Well, they're also going to send out more white blood cells, killer cells, all these cells that really go in and fix our infections, help our immune system. What else do we have here? All right. I know I write all these things down. I have so much more to say. This is similar to what it does on a daily basis to clear debris, store energy and ATP, and get sugar put in its place. So those things all happen during the day, right? Proper sleep habits can single-handedly help people lose weight or gain if you're in that 10%. Have more vibrant immune system, which fights more colds and flus. It can be the difference between a marathon or the focus you've been lacking. All right, so I don't run. I don't like running. A lot of people love running. Runners, you need time to build up. That's why proper routines and length of routines and sleep and hydration and all this stuff for you, elite athletes at the Olympics, right? All of these things are so important for the foundation. Just the bare minimum. This is the most important. If you have a good foundation, your house is sturdy. All right, I hope you guys look like that when you exercise, because I don't. But I wish someday, one day we all will, right? That's the optimism. But most of us work all day. So what happens if you work all day? Should you actually be working out? Even if you're burning all those calories? I mean, come on, you're a construction worker. You're, like my husband. Well, but I move all day and I lift all day, and it's like, yeah, great. But you're not using every single muscle in your body, or your body gets used to that, and the counter muscles to the muscles you use all day long get weak. They're not stimulated, right? So it allows injury to happen. That's why we have overuse injuries. People who sit all day long, they get headaches and neck pain and, low back pain and tight psoases and all these chronic issues from sleeping forever. Drivers, truck drivers, right? Car drivers, Uber drivers, taxi drivers, all get the same issue. Cake makers, decorators, right? Mechanics, they're all in the same category. Overuse injury. How do you change that? You exercise. But what's the best kind of exercise? Well, it depends on what you do. If you're a very active person and you are wanting to run or do high intensity interval training like CrossFit, then do those things. But learn about it and do it efficiently. If you're lazy or you hate exercise and the only thing you want to do is maybe go for a walk, get on a treadmill, go outside, get on an elliptical, get on a bike, a row machine maybe, and just go slow. You obviously have heard this numerous times, but why? Why should I exercise? Well, I'm going to list off a few things, 10. And out of these 10 things, you're going to find a couple, and exercise all helps with these. Disease prevention, diabetes, dementia, heart disease. Injury prevention, like chronic pain syndromes, disc herniations, brain health, life quality and longevity, mobility, decreased pain. I don't know about you guys, but when you sit all day, I'm pretty sure most of us have pain. Increased energy. Oh, that's one of the best benefits. Social benefits, emotional benefits, and getting you and keeping you off medications. This list is so many more than this, but these are the top ones that I hear all the time from working out. Oh, I wish I would have done this a long time ago, because it's crucial, whatever the reason. So get a reason, put your why down, and start moving. One thing leads to the other. Obviously, maybe you look like this right now and you just need to stay looking like this. Maybe you want to look like that. Maybe you want a girlfriend or a wife that looks like that. We all have to put in our education and our abilities and our motivations into our why. So gather that why and let's move on to food. So food, I'm pretty sure most of you have tried everything. I had this diet and this diet and this diet. Well, we all have things that we go to. That's our go-to. Then we all have things that work for us. It's usually opposite our go-to, right? But what is the purpose of food? If we educate on the purpose, maybe we'll understand what food is and what food isn't, and we can use it as a tool, just like exercise. We can use it as a tool like sleep, like hydration. I don't know if you have a theme there, but all of these pillars are tools. But what is the purpose of food? So too many times people seek guidance on food. When it fails, you just give up. Food's a tool, right? When you're able to think of it this way, it allows you the ability to use it like a tool. For example, I eat to get energy into my cells to make sure that I can do my physical job, and I work out 3 to 4 times a week. I eat for pleasure, like when I have friends over or go out to visit a new restaurant. All of these things are perfectly great, but what is food? Okay, so food, it's a tool and it has nutrients, right? We'll get into the nutrients here in a little bit. Is there a difference between emotional and physical satisfaction? Have you ever thought about that? Think about it. Do you ever wonder why, we have portions and portion control? That's one of my biggest issues with food is I love food. My husband thought I should be 500 pounds when we first met, and he still is like, wow, how can you eat so much food? However, when we sit down to eat, I've learned that I want to go out with my friends and not be consumed about what I'm eating and how much I'm eating and only about the food, right? So it really got me thinking a while ago, maybe a decade or so ago. Why am I using my outlet to consume food and be emotionally driven to consuming this food, and I miss the whole conversation, the whole night with my friends because I'm thinking about the food, right? So eating enough calorie allows you to be full. So portions, that's your physical satisfaction. The brain receives and sends signals to your body to know and feel full. Example, you eat a meal and your stomach's full. This is a physical thing. On the other side, when your emotions dictate your satisfaction, you are physically full, but still wanting to eat something. Overeating oftentimes begins with emotional eating. When the diets begin and one after another fails, so many times, is this your issue? Can we be honest? Is this the main issue? Then addressing and learning to be physically satisfied or full at each meal will get you the results you've been trying to get for a while. No diet. This step may or may not need professional help. Try to portion your meals to reflect your calorie needs. Eat and chew properly. That's another thing. Chewing needs to be 20 to 30 chews per bite. We won't get into all the fancy details. When you're done, tell yourself you're full and your needs are met. Over time, this works to change and allow yourself to recognize when you're really full. You'll begin feeling satisfied emotionally and physically. You don't have to be satisfied with your meal to get the nutrients and calories your body needs to live. People most oftentimes mistake eating to sustain life and eating for satisfaction. They can be both in your mind, body, and spirit when they're aligned. Oftentimes, overeating is because the body and mind are not in sync. Oh, this is so me. So, to be satisfied, there is a need of pleasure and overindulgence. The good news, I've truly learned to turn this on and turn it off when I need it. You can learn and unlearn emotional eating. You really have to just understand that food is a tool, right? Food is made up of macronutrients, micronutrients, and phytonutrients. In America, we also have something called chemicals of an unknown origin. We'll leave that on the side. But macronutrients are divided into protein, fat, and carbohydrates, right? So proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Whole foods have all, sorry, I need to switch this slide, but single ingredient whole foods are the best way to monitor and to get your macronutrients and micronutrients and phytonutrients the way they need to be. Each of us have a ratio of macronutrients that works for us. Example, my body works really well with 40 to 60% fat. Now I eat the good fats, not the trans fat, but there's a lot of diets out there that focus on different ratios, right? Keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, zone diet, just to name a couple. Micronutrients is divided into specific vitamins and minerals that we need to live. Vitamins are fat soluble or water soluble. Fat soluble are stored in the body to be used at a later time. Water soluble are flushed out of our bodies and not held in our bodies like fat soluble vitamins. Each food we consume has a chemical makeup that allows its own footprint in our bodies. The chemical reactions that we have with food are called phytonutrient phytochemical reactions. This means that beyond the vitamins and minerals we gain from food, we also get health benefits such as improved immune function, cancer prevention, brain protection, decreased inflammation, and improved heart health. So the difference between chemicals added to our food and chemicals that a plant is made out of is huge. So right here we're talking about the chemicals that a plant is made out of. So let's say, what's the next one here? So let's say that sandwich bread. That bread is a complex carb, okay? That complex carb is made out of, it looks like grains, right? So flour. Those grains, if they're stone ground, will have a phytochemical or a phytonutrient reaction inside our body because the plant has made up of or has makeup that is unique to it, which then reacts with our body, creating a reaction, allowing our immune system to have all these little micro reactions. Same thing with those carrots, or if they're sweet potatoes, and all the other foods you see, right? So basically, we need whole foods that are not processed. So most of our diet should be whole foods, single ingredient that we cook together. If you're going to do, I guess here's how it goes. You have whole foods, then you have frozen whole foods, then you have canned whole foods, and then you have processed foods that are broken into other things. So canned foods are kind of processed. They have chemical reactions in them, and they're stored usually in a metal or glass, right? Like pickling or whatever else. So the further you get away from whole foods, the less the integrity of the food. So you should try to have more whole foods that you maybe blanch or lightly steam or eat raw. Some of us have issues with eating raw foods, so you can cook them slightly. Or you can cook them more, it just degrades the nutrients. But whole foods that you buy and you make on your own are going to have much more phytonutrients, micronutrients than all the other ones. Now, macronutrients is what scientists go off of. Scientists say, well, that fruit snack has this much carbohydrate, this much sugar, this much fat, this much protein. Okay, but we know that a fruit snack is not the same thing as a berry, right? So you got the concept. All right, so how do we get a balanced diet? Well, we're kind of talking about that now. Eating the rainbow is huge, right? Variety for phytonutrients. Eating whole food prepared appropriately, not overcooked or burned. 50-50 raw to cooked. When loading your plate, make sure the majority of your plate is veggies and fruit. If you have grain, animal protein with good fats, such as coconut, olive oil, or avocado oil, those are the best. Um, but having a good relationship and understanding what food is going to be the foundation, and the diets are going to come secondary, meaning, hi, I need this nutrient because I know I'm deficient, so I'm going to eat more of this type of food. Example, magnesium, avocado, right? Antioxidants, avocado. I need, I don't know, vitamin C, broccoli. Like, there's a lot of different things you're going to look up and go, okay, what am I lacking? What am I not getting enough of? Am I a bodybuilder? I need to have good plant proteins, but also good animal proteins. Am I having a variety of them? The food is the tool. If you're diabetic, keto is going to be a great way to go as long as you're monitored. But it pushes or drives or influences the body because it is a tool, right? Switching your diet is creating different reactions in the body. It is a tool to drive, right? So the diet is to drive a process. If you have no idea what food is or what you're driving, you're just throwing a dart at the board. You're just driving somewhere and you're going to run out of gas because you have no intention, no reason other than losing weight. But what is your body doing? And why are you not losing weight? Because your foundation's off. Well, if you know what food is, your foundation will be spared, meaning you understand what food is. You're going to get the right variety, the right macro, micro, and phytonutrient blend. Your body will start releasing that weight or gaining it if you need to gain it. So that's where weight is a symptom. Just remember that. Eat more fruits and vegetables. All of us can do this. Go learn how to find them. Go to your local market. What's in season? There's so many good ways, but it's a learning curve and you're gonna have to try. Okay, we're all gonna fluctuate weight. We're all gonna eat like crap sometimes. The goal is to learn and be intentional on what you're doing. If hydration's your issue, you need to hydrate. If sleep's your issue, you need to sleep, right? You need to focus on the things we talked about. If exercise, I mean, all of these 4 things you should be working out one at a time. Start with your weakest, then work your way to the least weak area. But all of these can get better and better and better, which then allows your skin to get nicer, your brain to work more efficiently, the weight to drop off, you name it, and it will happen. And lastly, do not do it alone. You need somebody on your side. If you don't have friends, hire a practitioner, life coach, doctor, nurse practitioner, functional medicine practitioner. Hire me. I don't care. But you need somebody in your corner giving you the reason why and helping you. So, thank you for listening to all that. I know I get really passionate. I hope you learned something. I hope you subscribe and like this and share this. If you need help or health or anything, there's my contact information. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I need to talk about other than thanks for hanging in there. And we will see you back here on our next one.